What's up, guys? My name is Kyle, and we're back today with more Railroads Online and Hyce. It's that wonderful time of year. The sun is out, the birds are chirping, and cordwood needs to be loaded. It's just...
Yep. What else is new? It's another day. It's another... We need cordwood.
Yeah.
And we need more money because we're still broke.
I wish you could convert the smelter to burn coal instead of cordwood, and it would be better.
Yeah, that would be so much nicer.
Like, if you could swap it to be like, all right, swap fuel from cordwood to coal, and now you can actually supply it with coal, and it's a much better rate, because this cordwood loading business, like, every time we go past the smelter, it's empty on cordwood, and it's just...
Yeah. I mean, I get why the ratio got set like it is, because they're trying to simulate truly how much cordwood a smelter would need to burn.
Yeah, but then they put the station for the cordwood in the worst spot. Like, it consumes a bajillion cordwood, but then there's no way to get a track in there unless you do what we did or build some ridiculous bridge structure over. You know what I mean? It could have been moved out.
Exactly. Yeah.
It would have been great.
Yeah, it's not ideal, and remember, like, the smelter got set up the way it was, and then the industries got changed, the ratios got changed, the economy got rebalanced later. But yeah, being able to change it over to coal, which has a lot more BTUs than wood, I mean, that would save
that would be
a
great.
lot of struggle. That would be a really nice feature.
Anyway, we're gonna do something fun today because we need to make cordwood exciting, because cordwood is just, it is not exciting to us.
Yeah, this is going to be one that you don't try on your home railroad, folks.
Yeah, so it's all downhill. So we're just gonna give it.
It's literally entirely downhill from here. Yes, just send it.
It's got some flat sections, but that's fine. So we're just gonna kick it. We're gonna kick 9 cars, and then just ride them down the whole path,
and see if we cannot pee in a cup on the way down.
Yeah, I mean, it should be easy. We can actually leave the engine here. Like, we can leave Zuma here. We'll just teleport back later and come pick her up.
Yeah.
And then I brought the porter. I brought Betsy over to the smelter again, so Betsy can do the smelter stuff, and then I guess push the cars all the way back up the hill, and Zuma can come pick them up at the sawmill, and easy peasy lemon squeezy. We'll be
there. It is
good to go.
Living large. Yeah, it's gonna be nice.
So let's just finish loading this nonsense.
Dude, Betsy was like the champion for the coal mine line. That was surprising. Doing the math, and it's like, wait a minute. How can Betsy outpull the Glenbrook? What?
Is it? So I know, like, the gear trains have a better tractive effort just because they're so geared. You have a steam piston running a transmission that then gets geared down and blah blah blah. Did gear trains have multiple gears, or was it one gear ratio?
Some early ones did. Most were only one ratio set by the bevel gears on the trucks usually.
And that was it. It was just like, this is what you get, and that's...
This is what you get. But early climaxes, like we have in the game, an earlier version of the climax actually had 2 speeds, but you couldn't shift on the fly because it was not as simple
as
clutch and everything.
Yeah, okay.
You'd have to move levers, change gears out, and you had the low speed and high speed, but even high speed was not that speedy, so that'll do right there.
Okay, I forgot that
cordwood heavy.
Zuma don't stop. Do I need to go
bring
back?
Him back a half.
Yeah, Zuma don't stop very much.
Okay, now that'll probably be fine.
I'm full brake, bro. I'm just there we go.
We'll stop eventually. It's fine.
All right. Yeah. So gear trains had like multi-speed, but it would be like a low and a high, and then you'd have to set it, and then you'd
have to be stopped, take it apart, get the gear ratio set, and then continue. So if you were gonna run the climax up a hill, okay, well, we'll stop at the bottom of the hill, change the gear ratio, go up.
Right.
Or if you're out, you finish and you get to the flat section, okay, well, now we can change it out, put it in the high range. So there's actually, surprisingly, one of those locomotives still survives. For the Wild Goose Railroad, I believe is the name of it.
Is that a Canadian railroad? That sounds like a Canadian railroad.
I think it's in Alaska, actually.
Okay, yeah, that would be the second guess. It's either Canada or Alaska.
Right. The Wild Goose Railroad, yeah. So I think it's the 313 is the road number, but it's a little itty-bitty Class A climax, and I mean, it looks like a shed on wheels that has an engine built on it somehow, but it's got 2 speeds, which is
Now,
very
if you
strange.
have a gear train, right, the cylinders are on the side. And they're usually aimed at like a V towards a center crankshaft, and they spin the crankshaft.
That's what a Heisler does, yes. But the other gear trains are
vertical.
Each one's designed. They're all kind of designed stupidly, if you ask me. But yeah,
right.
The Heisler is like a V-twin, so it looks like a V engine, like a gas engine, but they're steam engines instead. Then the Shay, which is probably the most common of the geared engines, has the boiler offset off to the left, and then it's got two or three vertical pistons off on the right, and the drive shaft to the right.
Oh my god! I never realized the boiler was offset. This is this thing is so gross.
Yeah, you start looking at Shays and you're like, wait, so you put all the weight on one side and you put all the kinematics on the other side?
This is like NASCAR. It turns better to the left than the right. Like,
yeah, actually, they actually had problems on certain railroads that were designed really, really with crazy curves that they could only have the Shays face one way because the U-joints would lock up if they went the other way around the curve.
Oh my god, yeah, and all the cranks are on the one side. That's okay. I built an engine like this in Scrap Mechanic once with the piston engine on the side. So I built a Shay. Good to know I built like the most terrible one ever.
Yeah, they're really not ideal.
Yeah, no,
but
that's good.
They get a lot of torque and they do that. And then the Climax has cylinders that are usually canted upwards that then run a shaft that then goes to an internal or centered drive shaft underneath the engine.
Right.
So a worse way of doing what the Heisler does, basically. And so they're all kind of whack.
The pistons on all these are all way smaller than the pistons on a traditional steam loco.
Typically, yes.
Because they just get the ratio back with the actual gear.
Yeah. So the gear ratio usually somewhere on the order of like 2.5 or 3 to 1. You basically just get that as a multiplier on your tractive effort.
Right.
Like you have wheel size multiplying against your tractive effort because it's reducing your leverage ratio at the wheel. Well, this is increasing your leverage ratio by having the gears. So it's just a straight multiplier with what the gear ratio is to get the tractive effort in the right place. At least how spotted is that?
I guess I should get it out of the buy menu. That's good.
Cool.
At least the Climax and the Heisler, at least they used an internal drive shaft though, and they don't have this
centered drive shaft.
Yeah,
they didn't have to have it off the side like the Shay. I mean,
yeah.
There were those benefits of having it outside on the Shay is that it's easy to maintain and get to because I mean, all that stuff to oil, all of that stuff to take care of, and it vibrated apart more often than not. The Shay made it easier to deal with, so there was that bonus, which is why a lot of railroads bought them because they were cheaper and easier to maintain when they knew that they were going to.
Yeah, well, if I was buying a locomotive built in some guy's garage, it'd probably be pretty cheap. I mean, that's
you're not wrong.
Dude's literally sitting there like, all right, so I took some of those old steel milk jugs and I melted them down, and now we have a Shay. And it's like, bro, what did you? How did you do that? And that's
the funny thing about Shays were that they were built by the Lima Corporation, and Lima was a locomotive builder back in the day. But they were built across the river from the true Lima plant. So Lima was well regarded and well renowned for making incredible superpower, very nice locomotives. They made some of the most modern. You're
talking traditional
traditional steam engines, yeah, like
what?
Berkshires
like
and
280s or something, or
284s, 484s. I mean, they built probably pretty much everything, but some of their superpowered big stuff was well regarded and well renowned as some of the nicest manufactured locomotives all time. So I mean, it's this is a really nice manufacturer, but they had the stepchild manufacturing plant across the river from where they made the big ones, and they made Shays over there.
It was so embarrassing for them they had to put it across the river. That's basically.
Yeah, pretty much.
All right, so there is a slight problem with using the Zuma for this. This is a slight. This has to be a slight. This is the slightest hill. It's 0.5% or something because it has to clear.
It's fine.
Yeah, we're
just
moving.
You can stop now. It's fine.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because it's a 0.5% hill because it's got to clear a little crest going this way. So that's the only unfortunate part. But it's good. We can go back to kick this, and then we're just gonna go in
Gravity
reverse.
will take over. Yeah.
Yeah.
It'll be perfect.
once we get to that hill, gravity will just do the thing. I hope we just need to make sure we have enough momentum to go through the whole sawmill, and then
that's the biggest flat section.
Yeah, the sawmill all the way to the smelter valley, like at the top of the hill there, and then after that, you know, once we're on the 2%, like we'll be set for life.
Yeah, that'll be nice and easy. That'll be more where the chance of P-cups happen is down that way. Up this way, with, you know, 0.5% grade and everything, it shouldn't be that bad, knocks on wood, maybe.
All right, so geared engines in here, we have a limit. Obviously, we have a track limit of 10%.
Right.
At what point, first of all, if you make a cog railway, you know, where you got like the gear teeth on the track, like the center gear teeth track, or I guess sometimes on the outside or whatever, was that something that you could just slap onto like a narrow gauge, or do they have their own gauge specifically for cog built engines? And then on top of that, at what point in time do they go, this is too steep without using a cog?
So in the States, it's really interesting that the history with using cog railways and rack railroads instead. They were usually just a dedicated, yes, this is all going to be a cog railroad, and that's that. Like,
and then you get a custom guy to build you a custom engine then? Like that's...
Custom engines, everything set up like that. Like the cog engines we have at the museum, their wheels don't actually turn with the engine. The engine only powers the cog. So they have to run on a cog railroad. They can't run on any other railroad.
Right, the wheels are just there to support the weight.
Exactly. So, you know, we're a little different in the States versus some places in Europe, or in Switzerland, they have really crazy looking steam engines that have dual adhesion and rack engines. So it's got one steam engine mounted on top of the other engine so that they can power the wheels, the rack, or both. And they look bizarre because it's got like 2 sets of valve gear, 2 sets of pistons and everything, and it's like, there's too many rods on this thing.
That would be you'd have to manage both throttles independently. Like that would be such a pain in the butt.
I don't honestly know how they operationally work, and there's still some that run. And I believe one of the viewers of my channel has commented that they're a fireman involved in one of those engines.
You're on the cordwood.
Chat him up a bit
right now, right?
I am. Yes, I am on the leading cordwood car here. Got to get on that grade.
Yeah,
we're gonna try and we got to really roll as far as we can down this hill without any brakes.
Yeah, we just gotta go no brake, I think, for the whole 1% and see what happens. All right, I'm gonna literally just set the tender brake on this because then it'll eventually stop, and there we go.
All right,
I'm also on the
board.
cordwood
I'm
now.
on board. Zuma's stopping and de-rendering because it's so far away from me.
Yeah, Zuma stopped. She's on the logging platform. That's perfect.
And now we ride downhill and it's fine.
There's no brakes tied on this, right? Like we're
not that I know of. I checked them all in the yard before we loaded up. So
why does it feel like we're slow?
It does feel like we're slow. This breaks off.
Oh, well, okay.
Jumping over cordwood.
Yeah, this was the worst load to do this with.
Yeah, cordwood's challenging.
It feels like we are slowing down, but I wonder if that's literally just friction.
It might literally just be friction. I don't know. I'm gonna
check in all the brakes.
Anytime that I jump off as a client, I start getting eaten by the cars.
Yeah,
don't
worry about it. Just man that front brake, because that's gonna be the one that we're gonna use.
I'm gonna be the front brake boy. Yeah.
No, it's literally there's no brakes. I think this is pretty shallow because it just clears that peak. It's not really much of a grade yet.
Yeah, that's right. And then on this bridge, it starts to
there's a lot of corners here, so it's really shallow grade.
This is the slowest runaway train I've ever been a part of.
Dude, we'll be fine though. As long as we get, I'm worried we're not going to have enough speed. Like I'm worried we're going to slow right down in the sawmill, you know?
Yeah, we might have to bring up the Zuma and give us another kick. Well, we'll see what happens. It's fine.
All right, so real life stuff. Longest gravity train that still exists or ever existed, or they even run gravity trains, or are they just like, bro, you need an engine? Like, is it?
I don't honestly know. I know I've heard of some gravity runs before. I've heard of some runs where they'll use a loaded car on the way down with a rope attached to it that goes around a big pulley or probably a big steel cable or chain or something to pull the empty car up to the mine on the second track, so that they can use the weight of the loaded train car to just not need an engine. I've heard of things like that, but
and then what? You flip the loaded car from the empty track over to like you're basically like a chairlift.
Yeah, basically like a chairlift, but with train cars. Yeah. I've got no clue. I don't honestly know.
Work smarter, not harder. That's actually kind of smart.
It is, yeah, and it would be neat. They've got a special name, and I'm sure someone in the comments will get it. They had a specific name for that sort of railway. To your question on cog railway stuff, most of the cog stuff is standard gauge still, actually. Although I think the Mount Washington cog, I want to say someone said that it's one of the 2 cog railroads that exists and operates in the States that I'm aware of. I think they're actually like 4 foot 8 inch. They just chopped off the little half, and they're like, yeah, no, that's fine.
Where were cog railways normally, like obviously in the mountains, but like for what purpose? To get up to like a mine or something? Like
you know, I don't know of any that were set up for an actual mining operation or anything. The one that's near me, the Manitou and Pikes Peak Railway, was built in the 1890s as a tourist railroad. Literally take the train to the top of the mountain, because Pikes Peak is
we're going to spend a whole ton of money to but I guess it would have been a lot. You would have had to like walk up or something otherwise, or
you'd have to hike it or whatever. And now, I mean, they do like rally time trials and stuff up Pikes Peak in cars and stuff, the hill climb. But
it's crazy if we're slowing down, dude. If we are slowing down like this, it's crazy to me because this is literally rolling friction slowing us down.
Yeah, well, I mean, plane bearings they have a fair amount of friction to them, so. And it is cold out. It's cold and snowing right now, which does affect the efficiency of a plane bearing. So you would notice that they would roll a lot easier in the summer than the winter. So I doubt that's coded in the game.
You would lubricate all these bearings all the time with like grease.
Oh God, yeah.
Right?
Every day you make up a train, your brakeman is going and checking all these cars because the hot box is a very bad day. Yeah, you don't want to experience that. So.
All right. I really hope we make this.
It's just a slow ride. It's fine. So speaking of dumb train slow rides, at my time at BNSF, one of the stupid things that we ended up having to do at the mechanical shop all the time is after we'd fixed all the trains, we'd have to put the engines together in a consist to get sent back to where they worked, because most of the engines we repaired were like little local switchers and stuff for different parts of the state and the Pacific Northwest.
Right.
And so we had these engines come from Pasco, Washington, where the big hump yard is in Washington State, that needed us to get them set up and sent back. And my coworker who assigned the locomotives to be set up in a certain way wasn't aware of the rules related to special hump locomotives leading trains, because they have a special plow on the front that's got extra clearance so that they can get up the grade of the hump without problems. And so they can't go faster than 10 miles an hour through grade crossings, because if they hit a car, they could suck the car underneath and run over it rather than push it out of the way.
Oh,
so
perfect.
Legally, he can only go 10 miles an hour, and he built it that way with that engine on the lead. And it was a train that was due to depart out of the South Seattle yard, which was 10 miles south of our shop. So the hostlers showed up and asked if we had anything else we could put on top of it to, lead the train out. It's like, well, no. I mean, we could rebuild the consist and retest it. And he goes, well, by the time you do that, we'd be there anyways. So I guess we're just going to go do it. So they highballed out the yard doing 10 mile an hour and had to put down the main line.
10 miles.
10 miles at 10 miles an hour. So it took him an hour to get across town.
That's unfortunate.
Just like, come on, guys.
I can't.
I can't
believe
of slow rides. This is not working.
I can't believe this doesn't make it. That's I guess we just go. Hold on a minute. There's a solution here. Hold on. I guess we need to push that much further. That is insane, dude.
It's still a significant distance. So the rolling friction in Railroads Online is actually
that's 1%, like most of the way down there. So it's not. You don't build up enough speed at 1% to. That's actually kind of good to know. It means we could really just, like, full reg it down this hill, and...
It should be fine.
Did
you teleport back to go get the Zoomy Boy?
Yeah, Zoomy Boy's just going to go full reverse. I'm going to give you a little bit of a shove until we get to the 2%, and then...
And then we should be good to grab from there. But yeah.
That's crazy, dude. That's actually crazy that this line it's got that much friction.
It is surprising, and it's honestly probably pretty accurate, because the friction bearings, or sorry, plain bearings. I'm not a Timken shill. Timken started advertising them as friction bearings to try and get people to buy into roller bearings early on. The plain bearings actually do have a pretty decent amount of resistance to them until they warm up. And even then, I mean, it's pretty significant, the difference between a plain bearing and roller bearing.
All right, so what is a plain bearing? A lot of people are probably familiar with the more modern ball bearing, which is a metal sleeve with little steel balls in them and another metal sleeve, and it's filled with oil, and basically it allows those sleeve inside to rotate freely from the outside sleeve, and the ball bearings in the middle, the little steel balls, they actually allow them to roll smoothly. So that's modern stuff. What's a plain bearing in comparison? Just a sheet on a sheet on a sheet?
Yeah, so a plain bearing, you have an axle, basically, and it's got a polished journal, which is a very finely polished and properly sized, perfectly circular bit of the axle. And it's usually got a lip on either side so that it is a little bit smaller than the rest of the axle, so that when you place a brass on top of it, it will completely hold itself in place, hold the axle in place axially, right, down the axle itself. And then the weight of the car bears from the brass onto the journal on the axle itself. And so you'll have axle with the journal, then you have the brass on top of that, then you have a wedge on top of the brass that then sits the brass between the brass itself and the journal box, which is what you can see on the exterior model here in Railroads Online. And then the actual car's weight goes through the journal box, through that stack to the axle. And underneath the axle is either cotton waste, which is just kind of bits of string, or if you're lucky and you've got nice stuff, you have a journal pad, which is basically a stitched together pad that we end up calling sheep because they look like a little bit of sheep. And then those sit in oil, and so the oil wicks from the cotton material, whatever it is, up to the axle itself and lubricates between the brass and the axle itself that way. All right, you've made it.
So it's literally a brass. Oh, that was a rough one.
That was a little fine. That's
so,
fine.
But wouldn't that all like wear out really fast? Like how?
Not really fast, but yeah.
And then eventually,
they do wear.
Like you'd have axles that are smaller than the sheath, or I guess the sheath would wear out before the axle.
Well, so the brass is what wears out, because the brass is usually either brass or they get built back up with babbitt. Okay. And babbitt is like a really, really, really soft but really easy to form and contour, and it's really good for wear components, and then you can re-pour babbitt and reshape it. So the brass is designed to wear out before the axle, because the axle is still a pretty hard steel, really.
Right.
And so ultimately you'll end up needing to change the brasses and things like that, and get things cleaned up that way. And so you do end up wearing axles out too, or you might have to retrue a journal as well. But lots more maintenance than just changing a roller bearing, of course, which is basically as you described. Although usually train cars and train applications use tapered roller bearings instead of ball bearing ones.
Right.
So it's a conic section of a basically a cylinder, so that it also holds the alignment and the thrust of the axle itself in place both ways when you get the roller bearing in the truck frame.
Yeah, amazing how much effort we have to put in to make stuff spin.
Yeah, it's kind of surprising.
Spinning is
really
not a real natural thing in nature. There's a reason animals don't have wheels.
There is some kind of, like, someone in the comments will know what it is, I'm sure. There's some kind of like microscopic organism that does have basically a wheel that I recall learning about in bio a million years ago. But that's like the only spinning, from nature. Yeah.
Not to panic you or anything, but we are picking up speed.
Beautiful.
And I can't seem to get back on the cordwood cars, so I'm
that's fine.
Like I'm on one now, but I can't seem to go forward any. I'm sort of.
Oh yeah, I can see that you're. Yeah, that's fine.
So I'm just gonna hang out here.
gonna tie this first brake.
That might be a good idea. There
we're
is a flat
now.
section, remember, though, before the big arcing bridge, so we got to make sure we have the speed to clear that.
Okay, I'm gonna kick the brake off then.
I turned on Zuma's 10 to brake, so hopefully she's not following us down the hill, but...
It doesn't look like she is, so it should be fine.
Yeah, we'll be okay.
It's fine.
This is safe railroading right here.
It really is.
Yeah.
You know, one of the neat things that really illustrates the difference...
I'm off the... Goodbye.
Good
luck.
Bye, Con. Bye,
Good
Con.
luck.
I've got the brake on.
Let me know how it goes. I tried to do it. I flew too close to the sun. I got excited. I tried to get up on top of the cordwood again.
And here we go. So it's fine. It seems like I'm keeping the speed in check. And I'm gonna kick the brake off because I think this is the flat section right here.
Yeah.
For the big arcing bridge. So
no,
I just want to
it's
roll
perfect.
through that.
It's great.
And then I keep going because we're not going too fast. You might actually be able to get back on if you can make it over here.
Yeah, I'm running as fast as I can. The train is very quick.
That's fine. Yeah, one of the neat differences that you can experience between friction bearing or plain bearing and a roller bearing is we actually have a couple cars with roller bearings at the museum. They came from the White Pass and Yukon Railroad up in Alaska. They used to be coaches for them that they had made, I think, in the 70s or something like that for tourist service, and they were getting sold for really, really cheap. And we were.
How do you get a rail car from Alaska down to Colorado?
It goes on a barge to Seattle, and then from Seattle it goes
on
a truck.
You just put it on a boat.
Yeah, put it on a
truck.
boat. Yep.
It'll fit on a truck?
Yeah, so that's always the fun thing about moving train cars is that. Oh, did you teleport and you ran the other way?
No, I ran across the valley.
Oh, you just cut the corner.
Cut the corner. We're good.
Smart man.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, there's actually lots of special heavy-duty semis designed to haul train cars and locomotives and things, and there's actually a bit of an industry about doing that and moving train cars like that. So
and
that
what, they crane them onto
happens.
onto the truck, or
sometimes, yeah, sometimes they'll use two cranes. Sometimes they will just roll the car on and roll it off, and they'll have track built into the truck bed, or sometimes they've got low boys that back up and park and have like a ramp built into the truck. There is hilarious footage from somewhere in South America of them running a steam locomotive that is fired up a ramp that's built out of ties and railroad track up, basically what's the equivalent of a 15% grade, and running it onto the back of a semi-truck so that they can take it somewhere else. And it's just like, oh man, that is the sketchiest crap I've ever seen.
So now you're transporting a hot steam engine, presumably full of water.
Yeah,
wouldn't you want
I don't understand that.
Wouldn't you want to empty all that weight before you I don't know. That seems silly because it's like that's a hot locomotive with a lot of.
Yeah. I would assume that would make more sense. Maybe they used it to load it that way, so that's the only way they had to load it, and then they let it cool and drain it or something. I don't know, but definitely an interesting thing for sure.
It really feels like we have brakes tied. This is unbelievable, the rolling friction on this.
Yeah. So what the point I was getting to earlier was, 2 people can push one of the 40,000-pound coaches with roller bearings. You can just push it. 2 people. That's it. And you would be hard pressed to have an army of people get a plain bearing car moving. They are very, very, very resistive to start moving. Once they get moving, you get kinetic friction between the journal and then the brass itself, so then it's easier to keep it moving, but getting it started,
static friction's a pain in the butt.
Static friction, yeah.
It's interesting though, and I mean that's why your car wheels are static friction if you think about how your car works.
Yeah, rolling friction all the way around, right? Which is technically static friction, but you're changing the location where it actually interacts.
Yeah, and there's some funky stuff going on there, but the interesting thing about trains, when you think about it back in the day, I guess it would have been a lot of effort to make a really long narrow gauge train just because of the amount of rolling friction and interactions between the cars. That would have been,
you're starting to add a lot more wheel sets and a lot more bearings.
Right, and the bearings
smaller cars versus
basically
longer cars.
To put it. If you look at modern trains, you can run 2, 3, 400 car trains because everything is so smooth that it doesn't take nearly the effort to pull it you would think it would.
No. And I'm worried, speaking of, that we may stop slightly in the foul of that switch, so I'm going to try and get Betsy and it off, maybe. I don't think I'm going to, though. Well, maybe we can.
We'll be good.
Do some
you watch.
shenanigans.
It's gonna clear it. It's gonna clear it, I believe. I can't believe how safe that was. That was
that was nowhere near as spicy as I thought it was gonna be.
No, the friction feels much more than I remember. It's it was so smooth and just really safe.
Yeah, look at us.
So here, look at there's a way we can do this,
crowd.
right? So you can just push Betsy and just have it inch the thing forward and then back up and push it. No,
okay. So we're gonna basically.
Oh wait, no. If you get
simulate
too close to
polling
the
if we
switch,
need
you're gonna derail it.
Oh yeah, that's
Stand back, foul beast.
Back, foul temptress.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it'll be fine. It'll clear this. You've got a thing too. All right, you're good. No. Oh, it skipped that last one.
Perfectly timed.
It skipped that last one. That was bad.
Dunk.
All right, you're good. Bring her back.
Come on.
All right, so we're gonna have to split this a little bit, right?
Should have brought the class 48 down. Betsy's like, my water's still not up to temp, and you're gonna make me try and pull this.
Well, I brought Betsy down because the class 48 is still a more valuable helper, but that's true. I could have brought the class 40. We need to get a climax up at the helper station. I did run some logs. I'm up to $3,700. But yeah, I'm not.
So we're getting there, but we need like $2,000 more dollars.
Yeah,
and what,
we need
9 cars of cordwood at $80 a car. I mean, that's still not even $1,000. So
yeah, and then the class 48 can become a smelter engine. It'll be wonderful.
Let's be real. We're gonna need it with the climax for a little bit too. So.
Yeah, and Betsy. We'll probably need all 3 helpers at some point. But...
Yeah, we're gonna have to use every engine we own, I think.
All right, you're good
get
to
the
just
coal mine.
keep coming back indefinitely.
I'm down to 30 psi or 29 psi. I still have not started generating steam, so we'll get there.
That's
We're
good. What I'm
there.
gonna do is I'm gonna cut your cars on your way in.
Okay.
And then you can just keep going back with 3, and then I'll have you push the empties out a different lane. So we'll reassemble the empty train in one lane as we pull out the full.
Gotcha. All right, I'm now generating boiler pressure, so
perfect.
Poor little Betsy doesn't weigh as much as one of these things loaded does.
I'm just standing in the gauge. It's fine.
Hey, that's against the rules there, Bucko.
Am I allowed to stand in the gauge if it's on a different rail, or not at all?
You are not. You're only allowed
here
to stand in the gauge if it is necessary for the performance of your duty.
So if I have to stand, if I have to get across the gauge, I'm allowed to do this and just walk across, and then.
Yeah, but standing in the foul, so where a train would hit you, or in the gauge, I mean, you have to have a good reason for it, because it's when you start talking about multiple train operations. That's when problems can happen. So it's like, okay, it's just one train, not too likely. But when you're talking about a yard full of train cars, lots of things going on, lots of different trains operating.
You only have 3 cars now, by the way, not to interrupt. But
I noticed that I took off in speed, so
yes.
Thank you. When you're doing stuff like that, it's like, oh yeah, the chances to accidentally get killed skyrocket. So there's a reason, and we say in the industry that all of the rules are written in blood. As in, somebody died or got maimed for this rule to exist, pretty much. And that's pretty
And now, for a word
true.
from our sponsors, happy tree people. Sorry, I'm trying to lighten the mood from your, blood, death, and gore.
It's fine.
Did you derail Betsy? Don't squish Betsy
No, it didn't derail. I mean, she might be a little bit shorter.
Oh, my God.
She got compressed a little bit.
I still think that you guys need to replace your announcement at the museum with, guys, Hyce is our locomotive and or our operator, and he likes to send it. And then it's just like woo woo, and then you take off at 1 foot per second accelerate, absolutely terrible.
Just go for it, yeah.
You can't tell me though, steam engines don't accelerate that fast, right? There's no way, even if you full scented, you would wheel slip before you would, come roaring out the gate,
You really don't accelerate fast. You can be surprised at how fast they do accelerate for how big and complex they are. But yeah, you're not getting any quarter-mile drag times.
Yeah,
you're not making that happen. No, not at all.
You can't dunk as hard as you used to be able to. You know that, right? Things have changed on the railroad.
I like the spicy dunks, okay?
You used to be able to dunk harder, and now you can't. So you gotta.
Yeah, you can't do the big dunks.
You gotta watch out for it. Yeah.
On the real railroad, you can only do a 4-mile-an-hour dunk. Anything more than a 4-mile-an-hour dunk is bad.
Do cars have some sort of a cushion on that? Like I know passenger cars have big, like spring-loaded or air. I don't know what they are, air-powered or spring-loaded, like big freaking cushions, like the.
Yeah. So the draft gear, which is the fancy term for thing that connects the coupler to the car.
Right.
In most modern cars has some sort of cushioning, be it mechanical springs, or some are air cushioned and some are hydraulically cushioned. It just depends on the railroad, the type of car, the country, and all that sort of stuff. But all sorts of those systems have been developed because when you're talking about running, 15, 16, 20,000 foot long trains, if you don't have that cushioning and you take up the slack too fast, you'd be breaking stuff left and right. So you need to damp that a little bit the best you can.
Right.
And so that's definitely something that almost every train car has.
Yeah, so we need more money. Good news is we had iron here. So how much iron do we still have? We still have 12 iron producing. So this is gonna make a bunch of stuff. I'm gonna go check real quick while you just remember. There's the front brake on like the very furthest brake on that cordwood thing is tied.
Okay.
I'm just gonna look. We got a lot of rails, man. I think we're doing.
Rails is good money, man.
We got 82 rails right now.
So we could run 8 cars of rails.
We could run 8 cars of rails, and we got 47 raw iron.
Yeah.
So
we just need to make money. We just need to run that stuff to the freight
depot.
depot.
we could run if we ran 8 cars of rails. That would probably make us enough to then get to the next point, the climax point. And then we can go get more iron stuff. We gotta deliver more wood to the iron mine.
I think I've got double links.
But if we have a climax, actually, we could then get more stake flats and then do bigger delivery trains to the iron mine.
Yeah, that would be...
Which would make us more iron, which would make us more cordwood, which would make us more... You completely missed this. Good job.
Yeah, no, it's double linked, so I couldn't...
Oh, I see. I got you. Done. No problem. Let's go. Full speed ahead.
Full speed ahead!
But yeah, I think that's all we need to do, man. We just need to... I turned your brake off, by the way.
We need to get climax and then
then run bigger iron trains, and then make more iron, and then get more cordwood, and then do more cordwood, and then more cordwood.
And then cordwood, and then
possibly some more cordwood.
Yeah. Yeah. Because you'll note that we're pretty much out of cordwood already.
Yeah, we're already out of cordwood. We
delivering a full train.
We didn't even consume the remainder of the iron. It's ridiculous.
It's fine.
It's fine. Yeah, we're out of cordwood before we even get the cordwood here. We could honestly bring a train that's double the length of this, like 18 cars of cordwood.
18-car cordwood train, because we want to play Clicking on Crane Simulator 1895.
I mean, yes, that's basically what it would be. Yes.
Yeah, welcome to our Railroads Online multiplayer session.
But don't worry,
today
it'll be good. We can recruit our first position for the railroad. You are the designated cordwood loader guy.
Yeah.
Your entire job is just clicking and loading cordwood. We will bring you cordwood cars. We will take the cordwood cars away, and you just have to click and move them. That's all.
Continue to load them. Yeah.
Continue to load all 18 cordwood cars.
The beatings will continue until morale improves.
That'd be great. That would be the whole job.
Yeah, that is the reality of it at the moment. I really hope they update the cranes. That would make
cranes
the game...
need upgrading for sure.
Yeah, something. Yeah. Updates, upgrades, automatic operations. I don't care. Just make it so I don't have to sit there and wait every 10 seconds to click. Come on.
Yeah, I feel like at some point in time we're gonna have to build a completely unrealistic cordwood line.
That would be fun. Just send it down 10% or something.
All right, well, we are going to eventually run into Zuma.
Yeah, we'll figure out where she is, huh?
She's somewhere on this line. And then I guess we'll bring them both back to the freight depot.
Yeah, may as well.
Yeah.
Tow Betsy back down again sometime.
It's amazing to me that Betsy is like the tiniest little engine and just doesn't even care about 9 cars. I mean, they're empty, I get it, but still.
Yeah, at the end of the day, yes, it's a little 8-ton border and it's a little steam engine, but it's still a locomotive. It is a train,
Yeah.
So
But yeah, let us know what you guys think in the comments down below. This is the most exciting adventure we've ever had. I think the cordwood is just right up there in terms of things that I wanted to do today. Load cordwood was top of the list. You know.
Well, you know, you gotta keep the railroad running. Not all the jobs on the railroad are glamorous. Sometimes you gotta scoop out the pit. Sometimes you gotta click on cranes.
Yeah, we definitely need someone who's just a designated cordwood loader. That's their whole job. It's just we'll build some shunting lanes over at the logging camp so you can actually assemble cordwood cars. You know what I mean? And like have them set up and then just load cordwood all the time.
Yeah, we need to buy like 50 of them.
Yeah, that's true. We need like 50 cars and then we just have loaded cordwood. It's amazing. This is the only industry that takes cordwood and it needs so much of it, like all the time. But anyway, yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Everyone, like, subscribe, check out Hyce's channel, and we're just gonna go back to freight people. We'll see y'all next time.
Yep. See y'all next time. Bye.
Bye.